they'd have a better chance with LeBron?
Of course.
LeBron James, or is it an indictment of Austin Reeves or Luka Doncic that when any two of those three guys have been on the court, they have struggled this season? And when it's any two of them together, the numbers go up quite a bit.
But somehow, Ramona, it's still kind of hard to explain what their identity is.
At the end of the day, this is LeBron James. He deserves a lot more respect.
AOH here, and today I am doing a deep dive, the nitty-gritty details of how LeMedia tries to distract you from the Lakers' success without LeBron. Let's explore the different stages and strategies of LeMedia performing damage control for LeBron James. This ranges from distracting the viewers from what is happening to just plain lying about what they are seeing. Starting with number one, I'm getting a little bit tired of talking about Luka because I never intended to be defending Luka, but the media won't stop crapping on Luka. And it's the same story. I'm like, man, you guys went on an anti-Luka campaign all week last week. You're still talking about the same stuff? There's other things to be talking about. And it's not just Luka. Just about everyone on the Lakers team will get crapped on at some point. But notably, Austin Reeves, Luka, DeAndre Ayton this season. Those were all examples of the distraction campaign. I do want to come back to this and dive in deeper and call out some of these faces in the media a little bit more specifically, but let's get to current events. So first comes LeBron's fake elbow injury and his grabbing the wrong arm and all that the mainstream media, of course, didn't even touch. But what do you know about that timing? The Lakers are about to face a bunch of pretty good teams, and what do you know? LeDuck James is out with an injury. But there's a little bit of strategy. It's a little bit sneaky. It's not quite so blatantly obvious because this stretch of games started with the Pacers, who aren't very good. And when the Lakers beat the Pacers without LeBron James, the media didn't have to rush to LeBron's aid because the Lakers were supposed to beat the Pacers. Nevertheless, they continued to bash Luka while ignoring Luka's great performance. Indeed, ignoring the entire team's great performance. The box score for most of the team was very impressive. There's a lot of attention given to the combination of Reeves, LeBron, and Luka at the same time, but what doesn't get mentioned enough is that everybody gets better when LeBron isn't there. Let me read this really quick. Marcus Smart, 66.7%, 4 of 6 shooting. Rui, 62% shooting. Jackson Hayes, 50%. Austin Reeves, 42.9%. Luka, 56%. That's 14 of 25. 7 of 14 from 3. 90% from the free throw line, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and only 2 turnovers. Luka had 2 blocks, 44 points. Kennard, 6 of 9, 66.7%, 3 of 5 from 3. Finally, Luke Kennard was allowed to do what Luke Kennard was brought there to do. But like I said, it wasn't time for the media to panic yet because the Lakers were supposed to win, and they continued with the strategy of don't look at Luka's great performance, look at the whining that he was doing previously. But then came the Knicks game, and the Lakers not only won, they clearly looked like a better team. The media responded subtly at first, instead of just defending LeBron James outright. Tactics such as, oh, the Knicks aren't contenders, we overestimated the Knicks, things like that. But when there was more and more talk,
Lakers now 9-2 without LeBron, Brew. This is bubbling up on the internet.
more and more people were waking up to the fact that the Lakers are better without LeBron James, then the media had to turn it on a little bit with flat-out denial. A tactic is to ask the question that people are already asking and pretend that you are out ahead of this and answer it for them. But then the strategy changed again after the Lakers beat the Timberwolves. Yet another impressive victory without LeBron James, and we see now the just don't talk about it technique. Just pretend it didn't happen. I mean, first things first isn't talking about it. First take isn't talking about it. They're welcoming the distractions of Jaylen Brown being ejected. They're welcoming the distraction of Bam Adebayo's 83-point game. These shows never, ever shy away from talking about the Lakers usually. When it comes time to finally give the Lakers praise, they've gone quiet. And we've seen this strategy used before. When there are things that just can't be defended, you just don't talk about it. Such as LeBron James assaulting a referee and absolutely nothing happening as a result of it. You'll talk about Jaylen Brown being ejected and not deserving it, but you won't talk about LeBron James not being ejected while deserving it. Okay. And by the way, against the Timberwolves, once again, the entire team looking pretty darn good in the box score without LeBron James.
I mean, those two know how to step up for sure. The Lakers have won 5 of their last 6 games over 500, but somehow, Ramona, it's still kind of hard to explain what their identity is.
See, I actually have a problem with that line. It might sound innocent enough, but by acting as if the Lakers were always going to be without an identity, they evade something that would be quite condemning of LeBron James, and that's that they were developing an identity. At the beginning of the season, they looked great. They looked happy. They had chemistry. And maybe you couldn't say what their identity was exactly, but they were developing it. And then it went away when he arrived. And then it came back when he went away. Maybe they never would have. Maybe they never would have gotten that clear identity. But I don't think it's unfair to say that they might have. The indications were that they were on that way. And we know who disrupted it. It's not unfair to say that they would probably have an identity, if not for him.
They have something.
I mean, they have something, but I think we should go back to that stat that we showed on the screen when they're 9-2 in games when Luka and Austin play and LeBron doesn't. And that's not some indictment of LeBron James.
It's absolutely an indictment of LeBron James, and this guy is going to accidentally help prove that it is an indictment of LeBron James.
It's not some indictment of LeBron James, or is it an indictment of Austin Reeves or Luka Doncic that when any 2 of those 3 guys have been on the court, they have struggled this season.
When any 2 of those 3 guys have been on the court, they have struggled. That's just not true. But not only is that an inaccuracy, he contradicts himself just a few seconds later.
And the stats do not lie. When those 3 guys play together, they're negative on the season. And when it's any 2 of them together, the numbers go up quite a bit. That when any 2 of those 3 guys have been on the court, they have struggled this season. And when it's any 2 of them together, the numbers go up quite a bit. That when any 2 of those 3 guys have been on the court, they have struggled this season. And when it's any 2 of them together, the numbers go up quite a bit. That when any 2 of those 3 guys have been on the court.
Go ahead and finish the sentence if you can. What do you think the answer is going to be this time? This shill sent to rescue LeBron James is so bad at his job, it makes my job simultaneously easier and yet harder because he's so bad it's confusing. First, he said any combination of those 2 was a problem, which is inaccurate, not true, wrong. But not only is it wrong, then he contradicts himself. Because then he says anytime it's 2 of them and not 3 of them, their numbers go up significantly. Well, which was it? I don't want to argue against you when you're arguing for me. It's the amazing thing about lying with arrogance. He just said the opposite of what he said a few seconds earlier, but he said it with confidence, and I wonder how many people in the audience even grasped it. Okay, so let's go over the first thing that he said that was wrong. When Luka and Reeves were together, we have the sample size, by the way. He said this as if we don't have a sampling of what it was like when it was just Luka and Reeves, and it was great. And then we had a sampling of when it was all 3 of them. And then we had a sampling when Reeves went out with a hamstring injury, when it was just Luka and LeBron. We have all the samples, buddy. Which brings me to these numbers, which show that your second lie was an even worse lie than your first lie. It's not an improvement when any 2 of them are on the floor. It's only a drastic improvement when it is a very specific pairing. And that specific pairing is the pairing that doesn't include LeBron James. Luka and LeBron? No. Reeves and LeBron? No. Luka and Reeves? Yes. That was a deception in the flow of a sentence, and none of the panel opposed it. And I wonder how many people in the audience caught on to it. He straight up lied. There is only one combination of the two that works. There's only one combination of the two in which the numbers improve drastically. He just said something that isn't true. Shout out to Uncut Hoops for providing these numbers in a graphic, which I'm using now. And let me let everyone know that it's not just this season. We also have this sample size from last season, and the same thing is true again. If nothing else, I feel like I've demonstrated that a member of a panel can sit there and provide inaccurate information while the rest of the panel just sits there and nods their heads. Well, what does that tell the people at home? It tells them that while they are trying to wrap their heads around it, they must have been hearing the truth because everybody's agreeing. None of it made sense. It was even contradictory. But hey, it's got to be the truth.
It's going to be a big challenge for J.J. Redick to get the defense to be in a good enough place to where these guys can really be a force in the Western Conference playoffs.
And Coach has been screaming about the defense all season long, Mark.
It's a little bit funny. I had already recorded a response to that after the Knicks game, and I didn't finish editing. And then comes the Timberwolves game, and the Lakers look great once again. When a panel like this talks about the defense, and the defense is inherently flawed, it puts in everyone's mind that the defense is inherently flawed. So let me ask the audience, whose defense in the NBA right now do you love the roster and you're like, yep, that's the one. That's the one. Because I understand that there are better defenses in the NBA. There are some better defensive rosters in the NBA, but when the panel talks about it like this, it makes it seem like everyone has a great defensive roster except for the Lakers, which just isn't true. And I'm going to say it again. I've said it before. Jared Vanderbilt is enviable as a defensive asset on the team. Marcus Smart is enviable as a defensive asset on the team. DeAndre Ayton, when LeBron James isn't there, causing whatever cancerous effect that he has on DeAndre Ayton, is also great. I mean, that's 3 out of 5 guys. Now remove that. Let's just pretend that what I said about those guys being good on defense isn't true. The bottom line is, even if they're bad defensively, when it was Luka and Reeves as the scoring combo and the rest of the guys doing their parts, the Lakers were winning. Whatever the deal was, they were either making up for it on offense or they weren't as bad as people were saying. The Lakers were winning. It's only when LeBron James comes into the picture that suddenly the defense just isn't going to cut it anymore.
Obviously, the elephant in the room is that they have a better record without LeBron James and with him. And to me, this is a view of what the Lakers are going to look like going forward. Whether LeBron James retires or goes into free agency, I don't expect him to be a Laker next season. And so to me, I think this is Rob Pelinka's chance when he doesn't play to kind of like look at this team, evaluate the team, and kind of see what Luka and AR need for the future.
It's not that he's wrong, but presenting it as though this is new information, like it's the first time that we've seen this, it's the first indication of what the Lakers could be without LeBron, is BS. I mean, since AR was a rookie and LeBron was faking injuries, we saw what AR was capable of. And it's continued since then every single time that LeBron James has set out with an injury and the Lakers have gone on a run. The Lakers have literally gotten themselves into the playoffs playing without LeBron James. The Lakers this year, multiple times, have shown that they are better without LeBron James. The Lakers in the playoffs last season showed that when LeBron has the ball in his hands at the end of the game, it's a problem. LeBron James on defense costs you more than he could ever make up for on offense, if he even made up for it on offense. This is just another season of the same. Clearly, they need to move on from LeBron James, and people are, oh, maybe it's time to part ways. It's been time to part ways for a very long time. Stop presenting it as if it's new information.
Lakers now 9-2 without LeBron, Brew. This is bubbling up on the internet.
This is actually a really good segue to Broussard, because the previous person was talking about what the Lakers look like without LeBron moving forward. And I said, well, why do you have to wait until next year? And we also saw last year and the year before, and every single time that LeBron has set out with one of his fake or real or whatever you want to call it injuries. And here's Broussard saying, well, obviously the Lakers have a better chance with LeBron in the playoffs because of his experience.
I do feel like in a playoff series, they'd have a better chance with LeBron.
Of course.
You know,
Yes.
than without him because of his experience and all of that stuff.
And that plants in people's minds that LeBron James has a history of performing well in the playoffs. He doesn't. If he doesn't have better players on his team bailing his ass out, he's effed. And a lot of the times, even when he does have those better players, he ends up trying to have the ball in his hands, and it doesn't work out well.
Here's what is going on, though, because with or without him, I don't think they can make noise in the West. So I think it's a moot point to some degree.
And there it is, the second time we've heard from a panel that the Lakers aren't going to do anything in the West anyway.
I don't think, regardless if LeBron is on the floor or off, that they're a championship contending team.
So what does it even matter? What does it even matter if you have a player who's holding you back? Jeez. If I was on the team, I'd like to say that it matters. I'd like to go as far as I can. Now the whole team has to give up. You discovered that LeBron is the weak link, and now you've switched to, fuck it, what's it matter? They weren't going to win the whole thing. All right, so just so I understand, there's absolutely no difference between last and first.
Always remember, if you ain't first, you're last.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Remember that, Lakers. You're not going to win at all. So why are you even playing? Or at least that's the attitude when everyone realizes that you're better without LeBron, but you're still not good enough to win the championship. So why are you even playing? Does that go for all the other teams in the NBA also? Or just the teams that you realize are better without LeBron? And who exactly are contenders? Because some teams at the beginning of this season seemed like they were going to run away with it, and it doesn't seem that way anymore. Other teams that were just bad are now really good. And then, of course, there's something called upsets, when you overcome the odds and beat a team that you weren't supposed to beat. And that's called effort, and that's called having heart, and that's called not having a heartless cancer on your team, making sure that you don't overcome the odds. And what are we talking about, overcoming odds? They have Luka, and they have Reeves, the top scoring duo in the league, and then you added Luke Kennard, and then you have all these excellent defensive players that I just talked about. All you have to do is remove LeBron James, and you are contenders. At a minimum, you're not a guaranteed first-round exit. Let's just use the defense as an example again. A lot of people were dismissive of the Lakers because, you can't have such bad defense as Luka and LeBron and Reeves out there. But when LeBron's not out there, all of a sudden, the Lakers' defense is getting praised. So even the bad defense argument isn't holding up. If you can get rid of the Lakers' bad defense argument, in what way are they not contenders? We are all contenders in the battle to improve upon who we currently are. When you stop trying to be better, then problems begin. And this is what LeMedia is preaching. Hey, you're never going to be perfect. Why even try to be a better person? And the only reason they are saying that is to distract you from the fact that the Lakers are on their way to being contenders, the more and more LeBron James rides the bench.
8 with the double-double tonight. Reeves! Count it! And put him on the line.
Back to this guy again. He talked about Pelinka picturing the future of the Lakers and evaluating things. Imagine being able to evaluate the Lakers without $52 million being spent on a traffic cone that won't even practice with the team, and you never know when he's going to be available, except to show up in the playoffs and make sure your team is a first-round exit. Imagine evaluating the team without money and a roster spot being blown on Bronny James. Imagine being able to pick your own coach instead of all this money being spent on J.J. Redick. I heard a couple of people say, oh, they got to get their money's worth out of him. Well, what if getting your money's worth out of him means not playing him? Because I understand you're blowing $52.8 million or whatever it is, but wouldn't you like to spend that money and win? Because if you play him, you're spending that money and losing. At least when you understand you wasted the money, it was a terrible investment. It was a terrible extension. And now he's got you bent over a barrel and he's stealing money from you. But you could at least still win if you just say, shit, we lost that money. But if we don't play him, we could still win. That's what several of us, at least myself, in the independent media said going into the season, before the season even began. Just say, well, shit, we lost $52 million, but we've got to move on. By not moving on, your team has suffered Rich Paul and Max Kellerman trying to get Reeves traded and trashing Reeves, trying to get you to trade Luka and trashing Luka. I mean, it can't be very good for team morale. Lakers are overcoming LeBron James. They're not succeeding because of LeBron James. They are overcoming the cancer of LeBron James. This last segment revolves around playing a liability that you know is a liability and thinking that's okay because you have an excuse for why that guy is a liability. And let's just call this bonus material because I get pretty raunchy. This panel was too much for me to bear, particularly DeMarcus Cousins. So if you don't want to hear me get extra angry and old and crotchety, this is a good time to turn off the video.
Your team is failing in large part because you have a deficiency at defense, and we cannot play you on the court with Austin Reeves and LeBron James. LeBron James got an excuse.
LeBron has an excuse. What an incredibly pathetic, embarrassing, douchey thing to say, and I wish that was self-explanatory. For those who need the explanation, it's multi-tiered. Number one, LeBron's always needed and had an excuse. Always. Don't pretend like this is the first year. Number two, if an excuse is all that you need, everyone on the floor can come up with an excuse. At the end of the day, what you have to ask yourself is, does having an excuse change the outcome? Do you win when the player that has an excuse is costing you? Or do you still lose? I'm 95. Change the L to a W because I'm 95. Next, they've been saying this since LeBron got to LA. At a minimum, since 35, they've been making excuses for his terrible defense. But even when he arrived there, they're like, you can't expect this to be the same LeBron. You can't expect him to carry blah, 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 blah. Then again, we've never been able to. I said it once, I'm going to say it again because it's worth saying again. I never expected when I started breaking down the footage to discover that Luka was a better defender than I thought he was going to be. I thought he was as bad as people were saying. I just thought they were ignoring that LeBron was at least as bad. Then I come to realize Luka is not even as bad as they're saying he is. But you know what? Luka's fat, white, and slow. He's got excuses too. So let him off the hook, right? That's the precedent that you're setting. As long as there's an excuse. Doesn't matter what the outcome is. Doesn't matter what your performance is. Do you have an excuse? Okay, come on through. How come you can play Luka and Austin together when they both suck at defense and still win? How come it's only when LeBron is added to that mix of bad defense that you can't win?
So what do you say when I say the Lakers are better without LeBron?
I don't agree. We're talking about LeBron James. We're talking about an all-time great. I don't like this, this narratives that's being pushed about, LeBron James.
DeMarcus, what'd you do with your money? How did you blow your money? You dumbass. You douche. You blew all your money, so you gotta come on here and sell your soul? Oh, who am I kidding? You never had a soul to sell, so I guess you fit right in on this panel. Oh my God. Now this fool starts talking about narratives. I don't like the narratives. Dude, you calling LeBron James an all-time great is the narrative. Everything else is data. The fact that the Lakers are better without LeBron James is data. The wins and losses are data. They're not narratives, they're data. You wanting to ignore data with generic statements such as, he's an all-time great, therefore the data can't be real. That's a narrative.
The way they continue to try to devalue LeBron and what might be his last year with the Lakers, I just don't like it.
The way they try to continue to devalue my boyfriend. He cooks a great dinner. He's very sweet to me, and I don't care what any of you say. Devalue LeBron. LeBron is devaluing LeBron because he plays like shit. You moron. You shill. LeBron devalued LeBron.
Deserves more respect. At the end of the day, this is LeBron James. He deserves a lot more respect. This is a league legend. He brought the Lakers a championship.
The guy deserves more respect. Goddamn. Talk about things we've heard forever. When did he earn it? Exactly how does he deserve it? I mean, he's been relying upon your narrative that he deserves respect for almost the entire time he's been in LA, just to continue to have a job that brings him in $52 million a year. And you're talking about him being disrespected. He's disrespecting the game of basketball. He's disrespecting his teammates. He's disrespecting the franchise. He's disrespecting the basketball gods that apparently he really believes in as a real thing. How does the most disrespectful, whiny, false success story of LeBron James deserve more respect? And how many years have you been telling people that you should respect him just because you say so, instead of him simply earning it with his behavior, with his performances on the court?
He brought the Lakers a championship. He deserves more respect.
He did not bring the Lakers a championship via tampering, via illegal moves, and a whole lot of other shifts made by the Lakers, Anthony Davis, and the rest of the roster, and coronavirus brought the Lakers a bubble ring. LeBron James was there for the ride. He's a league legend. His legend is going to be how he destroyed the game and turned one of the most renowned franchises into a laughingstock, a clown show, a soap opera.
I don't think, regardless if LeBron is on the floor or off, that they're a championship contending team.
A lot of people agree that they're not a championship contending team, and I already went over this, so I'll try not to be too redundant. But let's remember that if they don't make it this year, the experience that the players on the Lakers gain getting into the second round or the third round makes it more likely that they get further the next year. Every single time that you're a first round exit because of LeBron James means you aren't gaining experience that could lead to you getting further next year. And you know what? No one knows for sure what's going to happen. No one knows for sure what's going to happen. With this league full of divas, who knows which teams will collapse, which teams will actually give the Lakers a better opportunity than they were expecting. I remember that Luka was in the finals before he went and joined the Lakers. That's what I remember. Where was LeBron that year? Oh, right, another first-round exit. And another round of the media letting us know that it wasn't LeBron's fault that they were yet another disappointment. And now Luka's on the team, and he went from being in the finals to taking the blame for LeBron. Get LeBron out of the way.